Hello friends, welcome to the first part of our new series, that is the best games of William Steinitz. We all know this thing that William Steinitz was the first official world chess champion. Well, he was also a great thinker, great researcher, and moreover the creator of the new positional chess school. We saw that before Steinitz, Paul Morphy, Anderson were great players and they demonstrated brilliant attacking games, all full of sacrifices. But when Stenny started playing chess, he studied chess very deeply because he was a great thinker and he understood that all these attacks were successful just because the defender was not well adequate with the defensive skills. Well, then he found various principles related to the positional chess, how to plan, how to defend, the strategical concepts also he invented, and he put forward one concept that was the well-founded attack. Well, what does it mean? Well-founded attack means the result of accumulation of small advantages. Like before you attack, you need to bring all the pieces to the party. We know this thing, but it should be like done step by step, and because of his teaching we can say that the turning point of chess history happened, and concepts which we know today or the era in which we play today is just because of William Steinitz. Well, before we start with our today's game, I would like to say what happened like before this game. Well, William Steinitz was born in Prague, but for his higher studies he shifted to Vienna. And after shifting to Vienna, he was so much engrossed in chess that he left his studies. After leaving his studies, he needs to earn money, right? And to earn his living, he started playing in small cafes in Vienna, playing chess on stakes. And after just some small time, at the age of 26, you can say he became the top player in Vienna. And when the invitation arrived for the second international chess tournament, which was going to be happened in London 1862, that Vienna Chess Society decided to send their best player, obviously William Steinitz, for this tournament. Well, for William Steinitz, this tournament was a blessing and he played some good games in that tournament, but one game stood apart from everything, and that one game which we are going to look at in our first series, that game was played against Mongredien, and the eventual champion of this tournament, who was Adolf Anderson, stated that this was the bold and brilliant game of the tournament, and he also said that this is the rising star of chess, like means William Steinitz is the rising. So before we delay further with our introduction, let's start with this game and find out why this game was so much brilliant. So the game started with e4. William Steinitz was white, his opponent Mongredien was black. Then he played d5. Well, we know this thing that after e into d5, queen into d5, this is Scandinavian defense. Now knight to the c3 is played, and in modern era we know this thing that queen a5 is the most common move, but at that time queen d8 was the most common move which Mongredien played, and after queen to the d8, d4 was played. As usual, we need to control the center of the board with our pawns or the pieces. So black also plays e6 and William Steinitz plays knight to the f3, developing a piece towards the center of the board. Then black plays knight to the f6, and now it's the time to develop our light square bishop. Well, bishop to the c4 is also one of the possibility, but Steinitz decides to place this bishop on d3 square, eyeing towards the h7 square. So black also plays bishop to the e7, white castles, completing his development. Black also castles in this position, and here he develops another piece with bishop to the e3. Just look at the position in the center of the board. Like white has developed 4 pieces in a row, and they are quite well placed here in this position. And black also decided to develop his pieces, but where will he put his bishop? Well, he decided to put this bishop on a8 to h1 diagonal, and for that reason he played b6. His idea is obviously to play bishop to the b7. Now what to do in this position? Well, all good players know that thing, that you need to centralize your pieces, and William Steinitz was the father of all these things. So he played knight to the e5, centralizing the knight in the center with the support of d4 pawn. Well, his opponent played bishop to the b7, putting the bishop on this open diagonal. So now William Steinitz strengthened the position of this e5 knight with the f4 move. Well, there is also one of the possibilities that maybe when the time will arrive, he can play f5. Well, black played knight to the bd7. Now he plays a simple move, that is queen to the e2. Another move which brings another piece in the game, that now rook is now connected with this rook, and this rook is ready to come on the d1 square or the e1 square wherever it is required. Well, here in this position, black should play c5 and trying to get some counterplay in the center of the board, or you should say that like trying to attack in the center. Well, even if black plays like that, white can play rook a d1 and still the position is intact because he has plenty of pieces in the center of the board. But this is how you should play, right? But black played a move which was a little bit inaccurate. He plays the same piece which he has already developed. That is a wrong move. That is knight to the d5. Always remember, try to bring new pieces on every move. This new pieces in the game on every move, because you should not play same piece again and again. It doesn't give any chance to other pieces which are not developed. Well, here Steinitz understood that this knight wants to capture the bishop on e3 or the knight on c3, so he calmly captures on d5. Here black has two options. One is bishop into d5, putting the bishop on this diagonal, or he can play e into d5, which he played in the game. But let's see, before we play e into d5, what happens with bishop to the d5. White can play c4, attacking this bishop. When the bishop will move back, white can play rook a d1, and we will be having good control in the center, plus our pieces are also well developed, and we can say that white is leading in development. Well, this was the possibility, but he did not go for it. He wanted to control more squares, so he played e into d5 in this position. And Steinitz was very quick. He understood that, okay, this bishop's diagonal is now closed. What to do? Rook left. Yes, you should go towards your opponent's king, because one of black's pieces is now closed. So he plays rook to the f3, bringing rook on the third rank, going for the h3 square. And there is a very nasty threat in the position, that is bishop into h7. Let's suppose I'll play one random move on the queen side, like a6. Okay, then white will play bishop into h7, king into h7, rook h3 check. If king moves back, then I have queen to the h5, and then this queen h7 or queen h8 check and mate is almost impossible to defend, because even if you play f6 or f5, such kind of moves, this square on f7 is guarded by the knight on e5. So that is not something which is possible for you, and this is a great threat. So black understood this threat and he played f5, shutting down this bishop. But William Steinitz continued with his plan, rook to the h3, because he wants to go there. Now black plays g6, and now when your pieces are ready, like this knight is there, this bishop and queen and rook, everything is there, it's time to open up the position. And here white started with g4. This is called as well-founded attack. He wants to attack, but accumulating small advantages. He played his pieces in a very nice way. He has pieces on the king side, and then only he played g4, trying to open up the position. Here black, however, played f into g4. That was a little bit inaccurate, but instead of that, he should have played knight into e5, f into e5, and then bishop to the c8. But this is a little bit difficult move, because you need to come back with your bishop, and that is not something which you can do psychologically when you have already developed your bishop. But this is the necessity in the position, because even if white plays g into f5 after bishop into f5, although white has more active pieces, black should not be the one who is lacking in defense, you can say. But as you can say, like f into g4 was played, and in this position Steinitz came up with a brilliant move. I will advise you to stop the video and think in this position what Steinitz came up with. He played a really brilliant and bold sacrifice. Well, he played rook into h7. Well, the objectivity of this sacrifice is a little bit shaky, you can say, but this is really a brilliant move and shocking move for the psychological things. Here black played knight into e5, but let's see if black captures the rook on h7, then white can play queen into g4, attacking the pawn on g6. Well, with rook into h7, obviously you have destroyed black's king side, and then if you play knight to the f6 in this position, then white can play queen into g6 check, king to the h8, then queen h6 check, king to the g8, and now a very nice little sneaky move, that is king to the h1, with the idea of bringing this rook on a1 to the g1 and check and mate. So you can say that king into h7 was a little bit risky in this position, and that's why he played knight into a5, eliminating the strong knight in the center of the board. So Steinitz played f into e5, and now he played king into h7. Well, after king into h7, white simply played queen into g4, further attacking the g6 pawn. And now he played rook to the g8, supporting the pawn on g6. But this is a little bit inaccurate move. Black should have played queen to the e8, supporting this rook here, and also putting this pawn here, and also putting this rook on the open f file. Well, there are many variations in this position, but I would like to show you a little variation that was like queen h5 check, maybe king to the g8, and now you can play bishop into g6 attacking the queen, and now queen h7 is also one of the threats which is checkmate, so black will play rook f7, and now you can play king to the h1, another good move, and here bishop to the f8, rook to the g1, and black's king will be under a lot of fire because this rook is there, bishop is also going to come here, and this battery is also there. So this is a difficult position for black. Well, here queen e8 was definitely a little bit better try, but still black's position was about to collapse. He plays rook to the g8, and now the position just collapses after queen to the h5 check. He plays king to the g7, and now you need to be a little bit careful because queen into g6 will be a big blunder, because after king to the h8, the white's queen will be pinned and black will be winning. But Steinitz was well aware of these things. He plays queen h6 check, king to the f7. Now king is moving forward, like king queen to the h7 check, king to the e6, and now okay, before we play king e6, let's suppose if he plays rook to the g7, what happens? Well, white can just simply play bishop into g6 check, king to the f8, now queen h8 check, rook to the g8, and now bishop h6 check and mate. So you can see the power of those two bishops here, and you can also see that these pieces on the queen side are just like spectators. Like in this position, they are not doing anything, just looking at their king getting checkmated. That is a poor thing, right? So after queen h7, king e6 was played. White played queen h3 check, not allowing him to go to the d7 square. King f7 was played, and now what will you do? Yes, you should bring your last piece in the game, rook to the f1. Play with all your pieces, call all the, like bring all the toys to the party, call all your friends to the party. This is a celebration time. Well, he plays king to the e8, and now queen e6. Very nice move. He plays queen in the center of the board, attacking the rook on g8, also threatening bishop into g6, check and mate. Well, here he plays rook to the g7, but this is not going to stop. Well, in this position, white can play bishop h6, but he plays bishop to the g5, putting some pressure on this pinned bishop. And now black thinks that okay, it is the time to exchange the queens, so he plays queen to the d7, but this just leads to checkmate after bishop into g6 check, rook into g6. Well, even if he plays king to the d8, that will also lead to a checkmate, because we have a nice move, that is rook to the f8. The bishop cannot really capture the f8 rook because there is a pin on this diagonal, so queen e8 will be forced, and after queen to the e8, rook to the e8 is a check and mate. So in the game, he played after bishop to the g6, rook into g6, and now queen into g6, king to the d8, and now rook f8 check, queen e8, and now queen into e8 check and mate. So by this game, we can see that the attack which Steinitz developed in this game was very well founded. Like he slowly and gradually he brought his pieces towards the king side. He developed his pieces very systematically, and then when the time arrived, he gave that brilliant sacrifice on the h7. That's why this game is called as the bold and the brilliant game of the tournament. So I hope you enjoyed this first game. We'll surely meet in the next chapter of this series. Till then, enjoy the other games also which I have analyzed, and if you are not subscribed to my channel till now, do subscribe. We'll enjoy chess together. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next lecture. Bye.